And congratulations to Night Phoenix again, you know, a fellow supporter of the channel, does play quite frequently in a lot of our online events, does make it through, and we'll see who is able to join Night Phoenix as we get into our next qualifying match. Now, we are jumping in mid-series, so no predictions. No predictions this time. No predictions to be had. As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, I was like, I should quickly fix the nameplates, but spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Golden Aura, we have our German Protoss player representing Team Little Fairy, and up 2-0 in this best of 5 qualifying match. It is ForJumy. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Red Zerg player representing Team Platoon from the land of Belarus. It is Nikich. We brought them up earlier. We brought up Nikich earlier about how it's always a pleasant surprise whenever we manage to cast him, but it's a rarity. It happens to be a rarity. He doesn't play too often in at least our online events, and we don't get to see him too often in Team League matches either, but it's great to see Nikich here competing in a qualifying match. Unfortunately, we missed out on Game 1 and Game 2. Not entirely sure what did occur in that series, but regardless, we're here for the finale, potentially the finale. We're here to see how it ends. I believe that this was being casted by some of the other language casters, if I'm not mistaken. It's being covered by the other language casters. So if you're aware of what happened in Game 1 and Game 2, you can let us know in the chat as to what transpired. But now though, Hatch Gas Pool, standard opener out of Nikich. From my personal experience covering Nikich, he has come across as more of an aggressive Zerg player. Very Ling heavy, you know, we've seen some Bailing busts, we've seen some Roach all-ins, and that's what I expect to be seeing here from this. That is what I expect to be seeing here from our players, but we'll see, especially on Golden Aura, right? On Golden Aura, the rush distance by ground is very short. All-ins can be quite prevalent here, or have been quite prevalent on Golden Aura. We'll see. Meanwhile, from ForJumy, Gate expand into a Cybercore. Likewise, I just realized, I think the last time I casted ForJumy was Home Story Cup. The last time we casted ForJumy was Home Story Cup, and that was when ForJumy, he had injured his arm, so he couldn't quite play at 100%. And there was a prize. There was a prize at Home Story Cup for the cheesiest games. And every single game that I think we casted most of ForJumy's games, and he all-in every single time. He did nothing but all in, but I'm pretty sure that was because of his injury and because of the prize that was available as well. So he was just having fun at Home Story Cup. So I don't think that's too indicative of his playstyle. I want to believe. Here we go. The Adepts, they do end up moving out. Looking to get into those mineral lines if possible. Oh, fire. We don't get to see enough sprays. We do throw down some fire, but as the Adepts, they do slip into the main base. Going for some drones. They do get one. You get one drone in the main. As ForJumy is going to be setting up here at setting up for his third base as well. Again, it was a Stargate opener into Oracles into a third. Nothing too crazy. Oh. Queens are in position. ForJumy doesn't find any damage. Likewise, Lings do go for a big counterattack to try and deny the third, but the Adepts are also here ready for those Lings, and the third base will remain up and running. So far, good defense here from ForJumy. Likewise, a good defense from Nikich, but these Oracles, they still do pose a threat. Wait, what? No. What just happened? Okay, we're good. I was a little bit confused. I thought we lost one. We didn't, thankfully. The Oracles, they do race back home. And from here, we should be seeing a Twilight Council and a Forge. And I'm breathing a breath of fresh air because, I'll be honest, we've been casting a lot of cheese tonight. in these European qualifiers, we've been covering a lot of aggression in almost every single series. Spats versus, well, just Spats in general was very aggressive against his Zerg opponents in Mixu and Young Yakov as well. Likewise, the PvPs. This may be the first standard game of the day. I'll be honest, it just, yeah, a first standard game. And meanwhile the NFs, they do commit to the shade, but the Lings are in position. Only 3 drones go down the Oracles. They try to come in from behind, but a clutch transfuse. Nikich, he does hold. He swats away those Oracles. The Adepts get cleaned up. They get 4 drones in total, which is something, don't get me wrong, but that's 4 drones for 6 Adepts and an Oracle. Nidus is thrown down. We did have an early Roach Warren. That was around a 4-minute Roach Warren. I think it was like 4:30 Roach Warren. 4:30 Lair is what I meant to say. I was really curious as to what it was going to be for, and it is for a Ling Queen Nidus all-in. So I have to bite my tongue. You know, I was about to praise our players like, yo, do we have a standard game? Let's go. It's standard from ForJumy, true, not from Nikich. We're going all in. It's a Ling Queen Nidus all in. The Queens are going to be amassing here, getting into that Nidus. We do have a way into the main. There's an Overlord here at the main base. We have Lings outside the natural and the third. So which direction are we headed in? There it is. Nidus into the main base. There is a pylon in position. Does ForJumy react? Does he see? He does. Stalkers are making their way into the main. The boys are being pulled, but is it too late? As the Nidus, it is going to finish. The Queens have... Oh, no! They pop out, but they do not transfuse in time. 3 Queens are going to go down for free. They try to take down an Oracle, and they will not get it. A brutal loss for Nikich. He commits here to the third base. So we have a shield battery. We have Stalkers in position. The Sim City is too good. And Nikich cannot break in. Ugh. Solid defense so far by ForJumy. And Nikich, he's just throwing everything at the wall. And he is losing too much. Nidus has been spotted. Stalkers are on the way. And Nikich, he does have a 4th behind this. He's droning. He's droning, taking gases, throwing down a Roach Warren. But Nikich is far behind, Bobby. Far behind. He's down 20 workers, down a base. Well, I mean, he's up a base, but he's down 20 workers. And ForJumy is looking solid from here. He's doing everything he needs to. He's working towards Immortals. Robotics Bay is on the way for Colossus and Disruptors. He's heavily fortified here on 3 bases. Nikich, he can maybe deny the 4th a little bit longer, but that will change once we get Colossus out. That's a lot of Lings. Up! But we do have Blink. We avoid the surround. And what can Nikich do? Again, he can deny bases. Definitely. He can deny the 4th. But not much else. We do get the Revelation down to keep tabs on those Lings. The Oracles, they make their way into that natural. Up! Into that natural base. Oracle's going to be heading out. And did we force another cancel? We did. Nice. We're going to be containing ForJumy here to his 3 bases a little bit longer. We can see Nikich slowly catching up in workers, building up a roach-based army, working towards an infestation pit. But behind this, ForJumy is just getting out of control. Extended Thermal Lance is on the way. Double Colossus production. Void Ray as well, which I feel like is a bit unnecessary, but why not? Sure, just get all the production going. A bit of everything. ForJumy, though, is about to be surrounded. Flying too close to the sun. I don't think there was much need here to really move out like this. So many Stalkers are going down, and suddenly Nikich, he does clean up so much of this army. He can keep on pushing. But the Colossi are about to come out. Again, ForJumy overextending heavily here. And now it's Nikich's turn to overextend. Upon seeing these Colossi, he needs to respect them. He needs to back the hell off. As he backs off, goes for a Ling counterattack, but there's a stasis trap in position. And it does freeze those Lings. Nikich backing off. He's working on his Hive, working on a Hydroden, Lunkers as well. So Hydra, Lurker, Viper seems to be the composition of choice that Nikich wants to take into, but it's a long way away. And before we can get into Vipers and Lurkers, ForJumy is about to have 4 Colossus. And with 4 Colossus, with Extended Thermal Lance, ForJumy, he can push out. He may have lost a lot of Stalkers, don't get me wrong. Like, that was an overstep and overextension from ForJumy. But with his 4 Colossi, he can move out freely, and I don't know, I don't think he can be stopped. I don't think he can be stopped. I know that Nikich is maxed, but it's a subpar army. There's that Lurker Den on the way. Once the Hydra Den is done, Hive is about to finish up to get into Vipers and to get into everything we can. Now, ForJumy, he has scouted. He did see the Hive with that revelation. Prism is on the way. I think he knows that there's a window. He knows that there's a window here where Nikich is vulnerable before he can make any Lurkers. He's going for it. Lings, they do slip into the mineral line, but they're being cleaned up. The cannons, the shield battery's putting in a lot of work. Finally, some probes are going down, but ForJumy doesn't care. He's going to push on forward here. The Colossus are exposed. 1 Colossus goes down. A second as well. Once again, ForJumy pushing in too soon before he had his War Prism to reinforce. Nikich having the best fight he could have hoped for, but even with the best fight, it's still not going to be enough. As ForJumy, he breaks on through. He can reinforce, he can support, and oh, who is it? Is it me? Sub-Zero. No. I believe he's another language caster. I think he's Glides. Yeah, he's a caster from 3D Clan, Russian caster. Unfortunately, he does lag out. Thankfully, you know, we had a little bit of breathing room there where Nikich, he was backing up. And from here, even with Nikich maxing out, it's just not going to, it shouldn't be enough. The Viper comes in, we can yoink! We can take down 1 Colossus! A good pick off here for Nikich. Nikich is gonna, sorry, ForJumy's gonna have to back off, take down this base instead. Back at home, we're getting into Disruptors. A +1 air attack is on the way for a Skytoss transition. And we are recalling back home. So again, when it came to that push, when it came to that move out, there was potential for ForJumy to end the game, but there were a lot of missteps. There were a lot of missteps from ForJumy. Again, he attacked prematurely before he had the War Prism. What I mean by that is that he didn't have the War Prism to support and juggle his units. He also moved forward with his Colossus in front of the army, which is why 2 of them went down instantly. Imagine if ForJumy had 2 more Colossus with that push. I mean, it would have been over. That would have been it. That would have been game. As Nikich barely held on. So ForJumy just fumbling the ball a little bit here in the execution of his pushes. But his macro is still solid. His transitioning is solid as well. There's that second Stargate. Fleet Beacon for eventually Skytoss. And this is a composition that Nikich isn't quite ready for. But he's building up his Lurkers. He is getting into Hydra Lurker Viper. He denies the 5th base. Up! There's a go off as well. Taking down a big chunk of roaches. And the Zealots, they do go for a big surround as well. They go straight for the, oh my god. They go straight for the Hive, and they're gonna get us around. They're gonna get a kill. Oh my god. Hive will barely go down. That means no more Vipers. Thankfully, we still had 3 Vipers in production, so we have some to make use of. It is now ForJumy's turn to move out, taking down 8, 9 probes, 9 drones even. As ForJumy is pulling his opponent apart. Zealots everywhere. Oh, and that's a kill, not a cancel on that hatchery. And behind this, carriers are on the way. ForJumy is always just 1 step ahead. And a big reason for this is because of the failed all-in earlier. Nikich has just been playing from behind this entire time. Now, what I will say is that Hydra Lurker Viper, even though it's not ideal against Skytoss, it's still viable, especially with a low amount of carriers. And that's what we have right now. We have 1, soon to be 4 carriers. It's still taking quite some time to get into this kind of army. So as a result, Nikich, he shouldn't die anytime soon. He should be able to stand strong. He can even attack, actually. He could even try to break this base. Once again, these Stalkers are looking very vulnerable. And Nikich is going to be able to collapse on this army. Looks like ForJumy just wants to free up some supply. He's going to be throwing away some Stalkers, recalls whatever he can back home. As we are pushing out across the map, good abductions here on three of those disruptors. Only 2 left. Up! Oh, the feedbacks. Feedbacks are looking pretty good. We still have 2 Vipers left. The carriers are coming in. They reveal themselves. And what kind of anti-air do we have? 0. We have power bombs. That's our anti-air. No Hydras. I made some assumptions earlier saying Hydra Lurker Viper, but it's just Lurker Viper at this point. Corruptors are on the way, +1 air attack as well. ForJumy is holding. And as we kite on back, Roaches, the Hydras are being cleaned up here. I guess Nikich, he wanted to get rid of the Ravagers. To be fair, I'm sure he wanted to get rid of them to free up supply for Corruptors. Oof, and that is another kill on that hatchery. Ay. ForJumy still in the driver's seat, and again the carry count is looking insane. He has Archons as well on the ground to support, to help with that splash damage. He has Storms available as well. Cleans up the Hydras, pushes on forward here towards the mining bases. Lurkers are able to keep up. Likewise, a Ling counterattack, trying to force back the army of ForJumy.
Game paused.
Ooh, as it looks like we have a little bit of latency going on, and hopefully everything is okay. Thankfully our latency is looking good. Oh, it looks like it may be on ForJumy's end, unfortunately, but oh, okay, we're going back in. I was assuming we were going to take a moment here to let it like stabilize, but never mind. It is looking good. Playing around by not able to accomplish much. And how many Corruptors do we have? We're up to 21 Corruptors. Honestly, this army not looking too bad. The army from Nikich as we recall into the main. The mothership has arrived. Oh, we do catch some of those. Oh my gosh, quite a lot of those Vipers actually. They get feedbacked. Only 1 Viper is left. The main base is going to go down. The tech is exposed. And Nikich instead going for a massive counterattack with his Lurkers. Now we can recall back home. That is a possibility. First though, we're cleaning up all the tech. That's a Spire, Hydrogen, Infestation Pit, and a spawning pool going down. At least Nikich will kill a base. But we will recall back home. Now when it comes to the main armies, I do still think that Nikich can he engage? With 19 Corruptors, I think he can. With his Lurkers as well. He has a pretty hefty Lurker count with 12 of them. Before Jimmy is remaxing with more Void Rays. And the Void Rays, they will complicate things. And counterattack gets cleaned up. Oh my, random disruptor? Okay. It looks like a disruptor was left behind, Papi, unfortunately. Never is going to be going up. Here we go. ForJumy going to be forcing himself up this ramp. Oh, has to be careful, has to respect those lurkers. 2 Archons already go down. I mean, regardless, I do think that ForJumy has quite a lot of control here. We have a large bank from Nikich that he's working with, so we can afford to lose a couple of units and, of course, replace them. But his upgrades are lacking. Because of the death of that Spire earlier, upgrades have been stuck here with +1 air attack. Nothing else. No +2, no carapace for those corruptors. The upgrades are very lackluster. ForJumy's trying to look for a way in. Likewise, Nikich looking for an abduction if possible. On the mothership, on the carriers. Spore Forest is on the way. Oh. We could be here for a while, Fafi. We could. As the Vipers do end up catching one of those Oracles, but oh, for the cost of a fresh Viper as well. A full energy Viper. Meanwhile, the Vipers actually can't be replaced. We don't have a hive. We don't have a hive. We don't have an infestation, but it just now starts. Oof. Again, the tech being reset earlier, it is hurting Nikich quite a bit. And even though the game is like settling down here, you know, ForJumy, he's working on more upgrades. He's still refining his army, incorporating more Void Rays as well. And working on his own bank. Nice thing run by. Meanwhile, Nikich is still catching up. Here we go, he's pushing in. He will catch one carrier. Up. He gets one. He gets 2. Up. Barely will get 2. Oh my god. That was so close. Barely gets 2. Not a bad start, but he's down to 2 Vipers. Still no hive. It just now starts. And these Void Rays should be pulling these Corruptors out of position, which could create an opening on the left-hand side. Oh! Oh, forced to recall. 2, 3 Void Rays go down. And a Colossus. Ay, ay, ay. A little bit careless there from ForJumy. No, I'm pretty sure he just wanted to throw that Colossus away, but with those Void Rays, the carriers, they are gaining ground. We're getting a couple of spores. The Spire is exposed. No. Spire's gonna go down again for a second time. We need those upgrades, Fafi. We need them. We're not getting them. Tempest now on the way for ForJumy, and it does feel like he's just been pulling Nikich apart from here. I guess, again, the upside that I don't want to count Nikich out, despite him losing quite a lot, is his bank. He's got 5k in the bank. 5k gas in the bank, I should say. You can do a lot with that. He's burning through the minerals, but with that, can he deny this space? The cannons and shield batteries are finishing up just in time. And they will trade with this army. Void Rays making their way across the map as well. ForJumy will hold. He will hold. No spores here, by the way, so that these CTs, they can do a lot. They can push in. Have we rebuilt this? No, we haven't rebuilt the Spire. Uh-oh. I was concerned earlier, like, it may not seem like a big deal, but because so much tech has been killed this game, like, Nikich is having a hard time actually keeping up with it and what he does and doesn't have. The Spire hasn't been rebuilt, so the upgrades for the Corruptors are still very lackluster. He's still only 1-1 against 3-3 against what's about to be 3-3 from ForJumy. So despite being comparable when it comes to the size of the army, the quality isn't there. Once again, he's going for the high for a second time. No shot. He shouldn't get it. Thankfully, he doesn't get it. Just barely. It will survive. Army's pushing forward. But I bring up the Spire because it's not just about the Void Rays. Sorry, not just about the upgrades. But as soon as some of these corruptors start going down, they will not be replaced. They cannot be replaced. As ForJumy is taking the 2 center bases, gaining control of the gold. So ForJumy, he's up 2 bases compared to the Zerg, which is something you never want to be seeing. ForJumy's up 2 bases, and I don't know if he's going to lose those bases anytime soon. Once again, the Lurker's putting in some work on those Archons. Oh. DT run by, trying to be sneaky, trying to get on top of that hive. Este ForJumy. Won't quite get it. Reduction on the Tempest as we recall over towards the left-hand side. You can see ForJumy just trying to bounce back and forth, trying to catch Nikich out of position. And it looks like he will come across this lair. There we go. The base is going to go down. At the same time, we have an Ultra run by being set up, but we have plenty in position. We have a Mothership as well, so we can actually recall to the top right. And we're just mowing our way through all these spores. Infestors have arrived. Do have a couple of infestors. Okay, the spies have been rebuilt. Microbial Shroud. Meanwhile, we recall over towards top right. And it looks like we will catch a couple units here. The Lurkers are not in position. The Ultras are going down. And Nikich, he is being pulled apart. The hatchery will fall as well. Good storm. And even better feedbacks. Oof. Yeah, we do not want to commit. Not like this. We do land 1 parasitic bomb. Or a couple of power bombs even. That's not enough to kill the carriers. It is enough to kill 2 of them, I think. Not a bad trade. Gets the Mothership. -300, -300. As ForJumy will back off, lick his wounds, consolidate his army. Nikich is remaxing, but did lose a lot of spellcasters. He's down to 2 Vipers. 3rd Viper's on the way. We're repositioning some Spore Crawlers. Nikich, he just hasn't been able to touch the gold or touch the fringe bases at all. And that bank that I was, praising earlier, it's not really there anymore. Yeah, we're collapsing on this army. We know we can. We know we can just afford to. Good dive on the Corruptors. Good dive on the carriers as Corruptors. They will take down these carriers one after the other, cleaning everything up. A massive powerbomb. And Nikich will take a fight, but ForJumy has a bank. And he is switching into Ground Toss. These Corruptors, they're becoming dead supply. Thankfully, we have a couple of Lurkers left over. 5 Lurkers. Oh. We are holding. Greater Spire is done, so we can actually morph in some Broodlords if we need to. And Nikich is still in this. Despite ForJumy having the better economy, he is I was curious where his workers were. He is oversaturated in some of these bases. Does have to make better use of them. Corruptors are coming in, and this Nexus is going to go down. Can we recall over to save it? I don't think we can. Yeah, the Nexus will fall. Nikich fighting back. At the same time, the DTs reveal themselves. They go straight for the Ultra Cavern. And soon the Hive as well. Yeah. We can't save it. The Hive will fall. What else do we want? What are we going for? Lurker Den? Yeah. The Lunker Den. Do we have an overseer? No, we don't. We can't make one. GG. We need fungals. We need fungals, Poppy. There's no overseer. Spores coming in. We can recall back home. There is no lair. We can't make any overseers. And they died earlier. Oh my god. Now, of course, we have fungals available with these infestors and we have repositioning spores, but mate, we could win the game with DTs. Lurker down, sorry, lair now on the way at this triangular third. God, that was crazy. Ay, ay, ay. As again, Nikich, he's running out of money. Meanwhile, ForJumy regaining control of his gold. There we go. He does resaturate the space here. He does maneuver his workers around. Takes care of his economy. Where we'll finish up, which means we can morph in some overseers. We're good to go. We are good to go, Papi. And ForJumy has now remaxed. He's remaxed, he's still up in bases, and Nikich, what can we really do from here? He's going for a Hydrogen. Did he lose his earlier? He did, he lost the Hydrogen as well. Oof. Broodlord's in production, that can help. It did feel like Nikich wasn't too sure what to tech into from this position, but he's on one base mining. This is his one and only base left. And here we go. It's all or nothing for our Zerg player. Up. Oof. It does get a High Templar. Doesn't get a High Templar. Broodlord's pushing forward, and we're gaining ground. Don't get me wrong. Broodlords are gaining ground. ForJumy setting up a surround. He has carriers coming in. They're about to reveal themselves. And unlike previously, where there aren't enough corruptors, only 12 corruptors remaining. Good feedbacks. Now we come in from behind. Big storm here on the lurkers. And ForJumy should be able to just completely swallow up this army. Nice power bomb here on the Void Rays, but it's not going to be enough. GG, well played gets called, and ForJumy will take the series 3-0, qualifying for ESL Masters Europe, the regionals for winter. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. I see the chat catching up. An oversight. Oh, the puns. Popular puns. GG, well played. Congratulations to ForJumy for making it through. My condolences to Nikich. Again, we missed out on game 1 and game 2. Here in game 3, it was pretty close. It was pretty back and forth. It was an unfortunate game, though, because the early game, Nikich, he lost map control. He was behind, and he just really was struggling to keep up with his opponent tech-wise. It did feel like for almost the entire game, Nikich was one step behind. For those that are tuning in a little bit later, Nikich tried to go for a Ling Queen Nidus all-in, and it was completely shut down. He was completely shut down by ForJumy, and ForJumy was able to take a strong economic and tech lead from that moment. It was an uphill battle. GG, well played. And now we have to find another series. Is there anything left? Let's have a look. It looks like Akedon took down Strange 3-1. To qualify. Oh, hold on. Let's see if we can find another game. Trying to catch up. Okay. We're just gonna be chilling. Looks like Akedon took down Strange 3-1. Qualifying. Shout out to the Spanish Terran player. We had ForJumy, of course, taking down Nikich 3-0 as well. To make it on through. Don't want to be left behind. Arrowfire 3-2 to MiddleVK. Oh, went all the way to the ace match. Again, a shout out to MiddleVK. He's been doing very well for himself, and for him to go to the ace match against Arrowfire, very well, or very nice performance. Drogo took down Mixu 3-1. My condolences to Mixu. My heart bleeds a little bit. It bleeds. Mixu went so far, yet was not able to overcome the might that is Drogo, as he does get taken out. Spats 3-0 Dart. We covered that series. We did cover those matches. Likewise, Night Phoenix 3-0 Dika. We also covered that series as well. And Nikich took down Rom 3-0 as well. So it looks like there is only one qualifying match left. It's a PvP between Showdown and Rodzin. And I guess we could try to wait for that series to open up. I don't know if anyone is casting that. Best bet would be Indy. Let's see if Indy is covering that series. Yeah, he is. Ciao, I knew, Papi, I knew it. Indy is covering that series. It looks like Showdown is up 2-1, and we are maxed. Oh my god, we are in the late game of a PvP on Golden Aura. Oh my god. And the balls are coming. Oh Jesus. Sorry, I just saw Disruptor versus Disruptor, and I lost my mind a little bit. Just a little bit. But it is looking heavily favored in Showdown's favor. Showdown has a larger bank, larger mineral bank, larger gas bank, is up in supply as well. So it looks like Showdown may end up taking the series. Shout out to Rodzin, of course, as he can, of course, fight back and tie it up and force the ace match. But things are looking rough. Things are looking rough for Rodzin in this game. So because of that, I believe we're going to be wrapping up. We are going to be wrapping up our coverage. We're going to be wrapping up yeah, our broadcast here for the European region. We are 2/3 of the way through. It is 6 a.m. 6 a.m. here in Australia. Let's go. Let's go. How many hours have we been casting? Not too much, I think. 8.5 hours. 8.5 hours. So in 2 hours, in 2 hours time, we're going to be back with our next broadcast, and that is the ESL Masters Winter Americas. And this is going to be a special one. It's going to be very heartbreaking. What do I mean by that? So, for those of you that know, the CranKy Ducklings, we used to have a pro team. We still have a pro team, to be fair, but we used to have a more dedicated pro team. Basically, last year, we stopped all of our tournaments. We stopped hosting our events like Sparkling Tuna Cup and GPO and all that stuff. We stopped broadcasting those events, and we instead decided to focus on our pro team. We had players like Vindicta, Dolan, Patty Mac, Eric, Ryu, Oreo. Over the years, we picked up some players and we wanted to support them. We gave them a salary and all that stuff. We paid for their travel costs and all that stuff, but we could only afford to do so for a year. Of course, things kind of dried up and we couldn't quite afford to keep them going. So we had to let go of a bunch of our players, of course, on good terms, and I have a lot of love for all of our players, a lot of love. But we no longer have we lost our NA roster, for example. But they're all still active players. They're all going to be competing tonight as well. Vindicta, Dolan, Eric, Ryu, my boys, mijitos, they're all in the closed qualifier of the Americas region. So we have saved the best for last. The best for last, the Americas region, with quite a lot of Ducklings and ex-CranKy Duckling players as well. This year we decided to focus on our tournaments instead, so we wrapped up our pro roster for the most part, and we started hosting our events via our Patreon, you know, like Sparkling Tuna Cup and GPO and Tenacious Turtle Tussle. That is kind of where our focus lies this year, at least. I would love to bring back a pro team, maybe in the future, if we can have better finances and better financial supports, then maybe we can afford one. But for now, we're just focusing on our own casting and tournaments. And yeah, it's gonna be heartbreaking because I was looking at the bracket and our boys are fighting each other. Ryu and Eric are poised to face off in an upper qualifying match. Dolan and Vindicta as well are poised to face off in a qualifying match, and it's like I want them all. I want them all to make it through. I know that they're all amazing, and I love them all as players, and I'm gonna be cheering for them. I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna be very biased in our coverage of the Americas region, and I wish them all the best. So Yeah, if you're interested, in a couple of hours, I can actually tell you our first series that we're going to cast is, let's have a look. I'm pretty sure it's Eric. We're going to be casting Eric versus M. Canning. The reason why is because we casted Ryu in the qualifiers, and Eric has been on hiatus. So I want to cast Eric while we can, especially if things go awry. Because again, Eric isn't in form like he was a couple of months ago. So we're going to be casting Eric versus M. Canning. The winner faces off against the winner of Nina and Ryu. Another thing is that Ryu does have COVID. I was talking to Ryu yesterday, and he looked good. He looked damn good yesterday in the qualifiers. And then he was messaging me like, "Papi, I played so badly. I'm unwell." I'm like, "What happened?" He's like, "I have COVID, Papi." Like, I'm like, "Why are you playing?" Like, so Ryu's a little bit under the weather, but regardless, we're gonna be cheering him on. And Eric versus M. Canning will be our first series. Plenty of other matches are going to be going on though, so yeah, going to be taking a bit of a break for 2 hours essentially. For 2 hours, we're going to be heading off, going to be going on a break screen, and then we'll be back with some more StarCraft. It's going to be beautiful. On top of that, I mentioned before, and I will have to post an announcement, so keep an eye out. I'll even post it in the Twitch chat after I publish it. But we are re-signing Dolan. Dolan is coming back for the end of the year. For these next couple of months. Basically, I'm okay being transparent about this, as we just got confirmation Showdown did qualify. So there's no other games. But I'm okay being transparent about this. Dolan reached out and he was like, "Hey, I want to join the Ducklings again." And I'm like, I can't really offer you much of a salary. He's like, no, it's okay. I want to be a Duckling again. And we're like, oh, let's go. we can do this, man. We can do this. And we will be supporting him a little bit. Again, we can't really afford a salary for our players, but we can offer Dolan a little bit of travel support. So we're gonna be helping him a little bit when it comes to his traveling to DreamHack Atlanta. Basically, Dolan, because he's local to the scene, he actually can drive to DreamHack Atlanta and be there in person, and we're just going to help him out a little bit with that, like gas money and stuff like that. Nothing too major, but in any way we can. We always want to support our players, so Dolan will be at least a part of the open bracket of DreamHack Atlanta, which is ESL Masters Winter, basically. So we'll be there. So yeah, that's news for the CranKy Ducklings. News for our Ducklings. Meanwhile, with that, we are going to be heading off here for a couple of hours, so enjoy yourselves. Get some food, get some water, get some rest, massage your Marines, cook your Colossus, tuck in your Tempest, hydrate your Hydras, stretch your Roaches, marinate your Marauders, and drain your Disruptors, and whatever alliteration puns you can come up with. What did someone say yesterday? What was it? I want to say someone said something about, I know, it was cute. I can't remember what. But it'll come back to us. Regardless, we're going to be heading off here for now. We'll see you guys in a couple of hours. Until then, enjoy yourselves, and yeah, get ready for a night full of StarCraft, because it's not done. It's not over. We keep going all night long. See you guys soon. Bye.